Welcome back to the HGC. We are preparing for our second series of the day. Earlier, we did get to witness Fnatic got a 3-0 victory over Roll20, but up next, we got Granit Gaming taking on the Monkeys. My name is Trixler. Over there, we got Caldor. Caldor, you ready for a second series on a Friday?
Yeah, definitely ready for this, especially since I want to see what the Monkeys can pull off against Granit Gaming. Granit looked better and better when we're looking at part 1 of Phase 2. Monkeys, on the other hand, doing a couple of questionable calls throughout the entire run, so I want them to actually step it up right now that they go up against a direct competitor, since there's still a good chance for them to make it out of the Crucible spot. But if they want to achieve that, they need to deliver against Zealots, against Granit, and ideally also against Leftover.
Yeah, Phase 1, we had the Monkeys relax, but they relaxed a little bit too much, so hopefully they tune that up here. Let's go ahead and check out the standings right now as we continue to watch our teams as they move forward and attempt to make sure that dodging out on that Crucible, which will be happening in a few weeks. Granit Gaming and Monkeys currently down here in the bottom. Granit Gaming, as mentioned by Caldor, really started to excel, in particular when Nande went onto that main tank.
And again, when we're talking about our standings here, everyone that has followed the entire season already knows how close this actually is. It isn't always reflected within the standings, but especially when you're looking towards the top of the standings right now with Team Liquid absolutely bombing at the Western Clash, the question still remains, what happens when they're back in online game? Are they all of a sudden back to business where they can just take games off everyone except Dignitas? Or are they all of a sudden falling a bit short and showing weaknesses again that other teams can exploit? And that's something that we're going to see there towards the top, but at the bottom of the standings, this is where Granit Gaming and the Monkey Menagerie coming in, especially the Monkeys. They need to deliver if they want to move out of the Crucible spots.
That Liquid Curse, man, works in mysterious ways, that is for sure. Let's go ahead and check out our series for today. Fnatic and Roll20, as mentioned, have happened earlier. We have Granit Gaming and Monkeys coming up next, but North America looking pretty action-packed as Heroes Hearth Esports takes on Endemic and then Elephant Esports taking on Simplicity.
Yeah, Heroes Hearth definitely also needs to step it up a bit compared to the Western Clash. Didn't quite perform as well as they were hoping for there. Instead, it was Team Freedom that actually started to show up quite a bit. And Freedom coming in also with a very cool mindset. Just realizing that how did they phrase it? When they came in towards the Western Clash in Katowice, they thought they were hot stuff and that one could beat them. And then all of a sudden they get beaten down.
They were ice cubes.
Yeah, so when they came into the last Clash, they just said, okay, guys, we have our synergy. We think we're good. But at the same time, we're a lot more grounded than we were before because we realized that there's still a pretty big gap. And that attitude, I think, helped them a lot to get this far in the Western Clash. It's something that usually Heroes Hearth shows as well, but this time it just didn't work out for them. So later on against Endemic, once we're done with Europe, they definitely have to prove that they still, within their own region, are all the way up at the top there. Since, of course, currently they hold the #1 spot, but they have to make sure that that's still the case when we're heading into BlizzCon.
It's all about growth between our teams. Let's go ahead and check out our players that have been growing. Granit Gaming, who has done well last phase, but also the Monkeys that need a little bit of growth. Let's check in with them.
Granit Gaming match is actually very important for us to win. If we win it, we are still able to get out of the Crucible, I would say. If we lose it, we're pretty much guaranteed a spot in the Crucible. The last time we faced Granit Gaming, we lost. I felt like we had still fight in there, and I think it's going to be kind of the same. I think we can take it, so it's going to be an interesting match. I think we can win it for sure.
So the first match against Monkey Menagerie should be the one that we are looking to take. This one will set the course for the next phase. So I think the best player of their team is probably Make. I think he practices the most and might be the most skilled mechanically. Other than that, I think they're a solid team and look to win through team fighting rather than playing macro. So I think if we take the win, we will be confident and probably think we can beat anyone or have the confidence that we need to beat some of the better teams.
Now, we do see Granit Gaming start to really find their own rhythm towards the end of Phase 1. The question is whether or not they will continue to move down that path. With Nande coming onto the main tank, they seem to really find a new explosive way of playing the game.
They definitely improved a lot, and once they switched between Raid Boss and Nanda, as you said, there was a lot more I feel like a new power level that the team reached, and where they all of a sudden became a lot stronger in those fights. But then at the same time, they need a bit more consistency in the way they present themselves, especially in the last series. I believe it was against Leftovers. They had a couple of pretty griefy drafts where I was just like looking at it, was just like, what are you guys doing? A snap Illidan lock on the last position for the solo lane on Tomb of the Spider Queen. I mean, there's a lot of pocket strategies that you can pull out, but that was definitely towing the line there. And you could hear the team then later on reevaluate that draft and also straight up acknowledging, yeah, that just was a snap decision and it was the wrong one to make at that point in time. Did it change things? Probably not. At that point, there was still a chance that Granit makes it to the Western Clash, but they're already so far down. So Leftovers, they looked very dominant. So probably in the bigger scheme of things, that didn't have an impact. But when games like this one are now at hand, they can't make mistakes like this. They have to play what worked for them in the past. They have shown already strong play with the role swap that we set that worked out really well. Stick with it, what works for you, and Granit Gaming is going to be a great contender in the midfield of HGC and could maybe even push into those top 4 spots.
Well, let's get a taste of how they're going to perform here as we move into Battleground number 1. Granit Gaming with the choice, and we'll be going to Volskaya Foundry. On the other side, the Monkeys will be having first pick. Now, in terms of bans, Braxis Holdout taken away, as well as Infernal Shrines.
Interestingly enough, Granit Gaming has chosen a map where they only have a 20% win rate. They have 1 win and 4 losses on this map, so definitely not the best map in their arsenal. But then again, if you're looking towards the Monkeys, they're 0-3 here. So maybe not the map where we expect Granit Gaming to absolutely shine, but it's apparently something that they feel confident in. And no matter how this map goes, they still have a couple of picks later on where they are strong, where they usually show up. So they are the favorite heading into this. Monkeys might be, in general, the more experienced team, but as we heard from them in the past, a lot of them are currently half-time when it comes to esports, since they went back to university, and they take a bit more of a laissez-faire approach to those games, and it showed in part 1. They need to step it up here, and we heard it from Marke. This is a game they need to win. This is a game they want to win, because they realize if we want to make it out of those Crucible spots, this is one of the best games to make a huge step towards the direction.
One player in particular that I'm keeping my eye on during this series will be Rimmer Baller. Seeing how he does in that front tank, he's had a couple of moments where he's been a little out of position or dived into an odd situation that seemed off for the team.
Yeah, diving single-handedly into a Muradin and a 7-sided Kharazim usually doesn't really go your way, and that's something he experienced first turn or first solo. That was an interesting moment when it happened, so he needs to be a little bit more crisp on these things.
That's for sure. Garrosh banned. My Ev is the follow-up here from Granit Gaming. Garrosh, we may have not seen him in the first series, but he still has areas where he can be strong. If you're looking for a tank that can control his points, Garrosh can be that tank for you, especially if you have the follow-up in terms of supports like Kane or Malfurion to have some quick CC. Monkeys, not one to deal with that. They're going to go ahead and ban him out.
Now, one of the things that we have seen banned out earlier a lot was Sergeant Hammer. And Hammer is still a hero that has a lot of potential for Volskaya in particular. So if not banned out, and we see Granit with the last ban in the first ban phase on Genji, it could definitely be a hero to make an impact here. So I'm currently looking towards both of these teams to see if one of them picks Sergeant Hammer up and which one of them it's going to be.
I feel like if we were to get Sergeant Hammer, it'd be more on Granit Gaming. When you look at the Monkeys, you look at Crosby, and mostly he's been playing Phoenix, a lot of Hanzo in the mix-up. You've had some Li Ming here and there. I haven't seen him really dabble too much in the Sergeant Hammer, so we'll see if that does become something that gets picked up later on. And as Diablo will be the first pick for the Monkeys.
Interestingly enough, they banned out Phoenix, so apparently they are not even thinking about the synergy of Diablo Phoenix at this point. I was just afraid that Phoenix was taken here no matter what the synergy is. I mean, there's still, of course, a thrall that you can get with an Earthquake if you want to. But Hanzo and Deckard on the other side, so already the poke damage and the zone control that Deckard Kane offers to a team on Volskaya. Great start.
A lot of control, a lot of poke. We'll start looking over the Monkeys here. We'll be getting that Urel picked up in his rotations. We'll see what exactly Alex Aproji wants to pick up. Typically, when it comes to the Monkeys, they don't mind picking their top laner around their 4th or 5th pickup. They want to make sure they get their main picks for their main key players. So we'll see what they're going to move into. There's the white main, and we'll get Raynor coming out, which has actually been another favorite for Crosby. Forgot about that one.
So this is another of those scenarios where when we talk about Volskaya, you talk about Blaze, you talk about Urel. Those are the two that immediately comes to mind. We've seen a bit more triple melee setups, especially from North America, but Europe has started to play it a lot at the Western Clash. So everyone who watched that probably has a bit of an inkling of how to draft that here. Thrall in particular is a hero that can definitely fill that spot. And at the same time now, with no offlaner taken, I could have totally seen Granit Gaming ban out some... Like, Zeratul is interesting. It's just simply because they are respecting Alex, I would say. There's no offlaner just yet, but so they target Alex currently with that pick. I could have totally seen them going into a ban on either Blaze and then pick Urel or vice versa.
This is actually a strategy that we had employed from Granit Gaming the last time these two faced off. They banned Zeratul every single map that they played against the Monkeys, making sure that 1v9 potential did not come online from Alex the Pro-G.
I mean, they flat out stated that.
Yeah.
Was, I think, Nanda who said it, or Raid Boss. We just need to deny Alex any opportunity to 1v9 and we're going to be fine.
Junkrat, Urel, there she is, that top lane you're looking for. And that Junkrat being one of the pickups that we're getting pretty often today.
All right.
What's going to be the final pickup for Granit Gaming on their tank?
It has to be Blaze, right?
For Monkeys? Yeah, I could see that.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I mean, for Monkeys on the offlane right now. The tank choice. Illidan! All right. The Monkeys with a Medivh. I like that. I'm not so sure about the Illidan yet, but let's see. What do we have? So that's one of the reasons why they banned out Muradin. What do we have in terms of lockdown? Actually, not too much.
I mean, Nubrak's still here.
Yes, with Urel, for sure.
Johanna just be the safe pick. I mean, you have the blinds for Illidan.
I mean, you could have definitely gone for a Nubarak with the setup. Urel provides the armor, so once that you have a Nubarak diving in, you dive in with Urel too. The two of them have a lot of synergy in that. He has stuns as well. Johanna, of course, has the blind, has the slow, and also the blessed shield.
Yeah.
Illidan is going to be interesting on...
Is there enough support to keep Illidan alive, though? I mean, you have Medivh portals, obviously, so you can get him out of there, but...
I mean, I haven't really seen a lot of white main Illidan as a combo, so I can't, at least not on that level.
Yeah.
So it's a good question. I'm curious to see if it works out. I wouldn't mind having Illidan back. You have a pseudo-global with that if you're not feeling forced into Metamorphosis. If you think that the pseudo-global can actually, or the hunt as a pseudo-global can give you an added benefit on it. I'm skeptical, but I'm ready to be convinced.
I'm not. I don't like it at all. I think Urel, Johanna for that fourth pick coming in there. Granted, Johanna hadn't been picked up, but they completely shut him down if he comes in for the engage. You just peel backwards. If you're Johanna, you just blessed shield the opponents that are trying to come in. The only saving factor for me is there's a Medivh here. What?
No, I mean, like, I'm so far with you. It's just like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't know. Like, maybe you have... Again, I haven't seen the white main. We haven't really seen white main in any competitive games just like outside of today yet. So maybe white main Medivh Illidan is going to be what he needs to stay alive, and then he can really carry the fight. If that's going to be the case, if there's like some kind of argument for that to be made, it could work out. If not, then they're going to be shut down. All
right, well, let's go into it and see if this Illidan will pay off for Monkeys on the left side. In the blue, Granit Gaming, Memecraft playing Hanzo, Raid Boss on Junkrat, Wolf Joe on Deckard, Nande on Johanna, and Darkmoth to play Urel.
And with a little bit more of an extraordinary draft towards the right side of the map, we are seeing the Monkeys with Crosby on a Jimmy. Marke is currently playing Medivh here with Alex the Pro-G, of course, on Illidan. Rimmer Baller finds himself on Diablo, and Splendor on Whitemane. Yeah, Alex believing into the hatred of 10,000 years.
There is always a split push that you're talking about. A pseudo-global, level 1 pickup, moving straight into Battered Assault.
I mean, one of the reasons why I could see Illidan work out is because there's a very limited amount of CC that is available on Granit Gaming's side in the early stages. So that can work out. Blessed Shield comes on later. Deckard has a couple of tools that he can provide here. I guess if you hit an Hanzo arrow, then you have another stun that you can set up, but hitting that against Illidan is going to be tricky, especially from a long distance. The short range stun doesn't really do anything for you here. So with the protection out of Whitemane and also Medivh, there might be a chance for Alex to get some snowball going in with Illidan. Outside of that, it's going to be rough. It's definitely not the pick that I expect, let's put it like this.
Yep, definitely not there.
That one came out of left field.
I'm looking at this and I'm like, why not Dahaka? But we'll see what happens here. We'll let him
Why
bring
not
Illidan.
Blaze?
Why not Blaze? Illidan will be able to work on Merc camps if we want to. He can solo grab those, so the items can be under control of Illidan. The issue is that you have to deal with Yrel, who has a pretty strong push, especially against Illidan, as she continues to hop around with that Avenging Wrath and push out those lanes. And we actually have a bit of evade, speaking about Yrel. She heads over to the right side as Raynor and Whitemane will start their turrets, but Darkmok doesn't see an opportunity for himself to move in.
When we're talking about the offlaners, another one that, especially with Medivh, would have worked out well is also the potential synergy with Thrall.
Yeah.
Can portal him in. Earthquake, we've seen a little Sunderings at the Eastern Clash, so that definitely is some tools there. I mean, outside of that, again, if you haven't caught the earlier game, we already had one white main match, and we have Martyrdom taken again as the level 1, so a lot of the Desperate Plea as the focus here for the talents. We've seen that on level 4, on level 13 quite a bit, so that's something to watch out for. 16 actually, sorry, my bad. On level 13 we usually get the root, very reminiscent of what we've seen with Admiral Gonzalez, aka Stukov. So yeah, let's see if that's going to be the same build. For now, it definitely holds true. Slight adjustments on the other side for Medivh, who now goes into the Dust of Appearance on level 4.
Dust of Appearance coming out there. I'm looking at this also, and I'm trying to figure out who wins the control points. You have Diablo, which is always a solid factor, and then you have Raynor from the back shelling away. But the poke coming in from Granite Gaming, if they can get the point first, should be good enough for them. And with the potions constantly coming out from Decker Kane to provide those shields, they need a few more auto attacks. Like Granite Gaming should have the control over it. Monkeys will start the camp in the top right corner to have that pushing in, but Granite Gaming will do the same to the left. Bit of a standstill in that top lane as a control point pops up, and we'll be here in 10 seconds.
I'm very confused by the Dust of Appearance pickup, by the way. That's definitely not something that I saw coming. I expected Raven Familiar to be taken, as we usually see. And now seeing just that extra vision, I don't find a really good argument for that talent to be taken here.
I mean, Vision's always good, but
yeah,
25% extra.
It's a little bit confusing. I'm wondering if that's actually a misclick. We've seen a couple of misclicks in Phase 2. I mean, vision is always nice, as you said. If you can control the battleground a little bit better, you have good vision upon any kind of attempt to flank or any trap that is being set down. That's always great. But I really expected them to go for a more standard build with Medivh, especially since Mark is playing the hero here. So that's definitely something that I would like to follow up with the players and just ask, okay, what exactly was the thought process behind it? Why here you felt forced to make that adjustment, or was it just simply a misclick?
Well, if Monkeys grab the win, we can definitely ask them in the winner's interview. If not, we'll have to slide in their DMs, and we definitely will. 7-6 here as Granite Gaming is working on their next turret, and they've controlled the point already, 47%. But Monkeys have stuck away their own percentage so far. 37 picked up for them as Raid Boss takes some damage in the middle, but able to escape.
That gets out of here. It's interesting to me also that we're having Illidan now against Granite Gaming. Just earlier we talked about how Granite Gaming on Tomb of the Spider Queen made a Snap Illidan choice that backfired heavily, and now the Monkeys are apparently trying to tell him, okay, listen guys, this is how you do it.
This is how you play the character. Looking over to the build so far for Illidan, moved into Battered Assault, Friend or Foe, and Reflective Blocks is looking to get a little bit of armor there. And we have a fight here in the top right corner. Darkmok comes in with the poke, knocking Alex Aproji back. He'll have to dash away. Diablo will get the portal, but the Protector goes over to Granite Gaming, and Illidan actually gets picked.
Illidan gets chunked down, drops the turret before he dies, but Alex is dead. And now we have the Protector moving towards the top lane, and the rest of the team is pushing through the bottom. Granite Gaming with a pretty solid start into the game here. Nice leading experience, good pressure on the structures.
Different pressure, too. With Yrel and them on the bottom, they actually open this turret. Medivh has to come over and defend. Maka goes for the knockback. Memecraft comes in for the damage, goes for the scatter arrows. Ooh, but he's going to miss it, which should mean Maka should get out of here. He has a will. There we go. Force of will gives him the shield, and here comes Alex Aproji to make some plays.
Alex is going in, and Memecraft was trying to get the kill to reset the stacks on Medivh, but he went too deep and now dies. If he would have gotten the kill against Medivh, that would have been totally worth it. As it happens, though, that's not the case, and Alex is just simply saying, dude, if you go that deep, then your life is forfeit. I guess Memecraft at this point definitely knew that he was going to die. And yeah, him not getting the kill against Medivh, that was a problem here more so than anything else.
Darkmok they do, though. Here comes a big dash in as well as Alex Aproji finds a couple of picks. The Monkeys We're finding a couple of takedowns. Sure, one comes at the expense of Hanzo going too far, but a solid pickup on Urel as she tries to jump away from the fight.
Yeah, the second kill was more so important, but the first one, there was definitely just something where Memecraft said, oh, okay, listen, if I can reset Marcus stacks, that's going to be absolutely worth it, so I'm going to die there. But yeah, the second kill, that was definitely a bit of a different story. Whiteman, by the way, on level 7 now, heading into Intercession. So, yeah, so by the way, like, on level 1 and level 4, as expected, we are seeing Desperately taken again. Didn't want to really glance over that, but now we have the Unwavering Faith taken on level 4. So again, that heavy focus into Desperately, but the slight adjustment on level 7 compared to what we had in the earlier game, where now Intercession is instead prioritized.
Cleanse coming in, basically. Of course, change to hang on, actually, as Dragon Arrow comes out, Crosby locked down, Raynor being able to use that fight or flight, able to start escaping from the fight. And Granit Gaming unable to get that pick they were looking for.
Yeah, and you've been talking about Intercession, so it's basically the cleanse variation that Whitemane has, and that's another great tool to keep Illidan just doing what he does best, and that's auto-attacking and getting the pressure out there. And we talked about the limited amount of CC that we're seeing on Granit Gaming's side. So now that you have that cleanse available through Intercession on the 60-second cooldown, they have another tool that can enable Alex. And in the late game, this is definitely where he wants to be.
Yeah.
Also, with Hanzo missing out on the kill against Medivh earlier, we now see Marker at 7 minutes and 14 seconds completing his quest. So from Medivh's perspective, the game is going pretty well so far.
They are behind in experience, only by a little bit though. Monkeys have definitely hung in there. There is a control point coming up soon. The well actually was not picked off in the top right corner that you typically see with the Protector. So Monkeys actually in a really solid position overall. Really enjoying what they have here. It's just a matter of can they get the team fight in the 5v5. The Dragon Zero from Granit Gaming showed earlier that they tried to focus down Raynor. He was able to escape. But that is something that Monkeys have to deal with consistently as we continue to go throughout these team fights.
I mean, Illidan is ramping up towards the late game, and at this point, I really think that Granit Gaming was expecting to be way farther ahead than they actually are. So them being on even levels is going to be quite tricky. And we have Scarlet Aegis taken again, and that actually is fantastic for Illidan. He even went into Metamorphosis, so there's a lot of survivability tools available, not only on Illidan himself, but also on the supports that try to keep him in play.
The good news is he can friend or foe back, get that Aegis coming in here from him, and he'll be able to get that armor, and then of course Metamorphosis straight back into the team fight. So he has the mobility, he'll have to play around Whitemane, but definitely something that if it pops off on top of him, he'll be in a solid state.
I'm going to be honest with you, it's going to be extremely difficult for Granit Gaming to take him down. You have Medivh, you have Whitemane around this, and now you have Metamorphosis too. If Alex doesn't make a mistake and really plays on point, then Illidan can definitely be a huge problem.
That's always been the thing though with Illidan, right? If you don't make mistakes, right? If you start to win those team fights.
He's very momentum-based, yeah.
Yeah, very momentum-based. If you're moving, you are grooving with Illidan. Granit Gaming will get the control point at the top, and they are jumping up in experience while Illidan pushes the bottom lane. Urel will have to deal with that. Alex the Prodigy in a position to make sure to slow down that rotation, but Granit Gaming has decided, okay, we're not going to deal with those minions. We'll allow it to go ahead and pop out. We want to have Urel here in the top lane in case there's a team fight.
Yeah, currently Monkeys are simply waiting for 13. They realize Granit Gaming is going to reach it during the time at the top, so they are just making sure that they are in the same spot, and then they can go for the objective again, and that's what we're going to see any moment. So we have another support camp available right now for the Biotic Emitter, and Illidan is now getting level 13 talents. And here we are, good to go, with Illidan picking up 13 and going straight into 6th Sense. We're going to see them start to move to the top, and now it's time for Illidan to show what he's made of. Here comes the Blessed Shield. Didn't do too much. Immediately the counter action as we're seeing the Hyperion going through, and immediately the Lightning Breath popping out as well, but Marcus in trouble.
Memecraft in trouble though. Alex Apogee coming over, gonna be able to jump away. No auto-attacks coming in. The heals at the last second coming in from Wolf Joe. Memecraft running to the potion. Alex Apogee trying to find a kill on the top right. Nande and Darkmok has bought enough time to get the Protector.
Memecraft playing a minigame here. Catch the potion running from left to right.
You know he was breathing heavy. Potion, potion, potion.
Like Eric, like barely getting that. Getting the potions in here, and yeah, Illidan not getting the kill is a problem, because if you get the kill, then at least it's easier to defend against the Protector, but now you're dealing with the Protector and still have 3 men behind it. Illidan rotated into the middle of the map immediately to get some counter pressure going, but Granit Gaming has now secured the second objective for themselves, and this is really the moment where they try to set themselves apart. Just trying to go through the structures here. Ford at the top lane down, Ford in the mid lane attacked, but monkeys are still keeping up by Illidan getting the experience in the lanes.
I do want to note that something that was actually happening in that team fight is monkeys were trying to group up and drop down that Aegis so they can get that armor, in which Medivh would drop down a portal and they could force a fight with that armor being available, and of course those heals and those Zealosax being available. But the interruption from Granit Gaming made sure they didn't get that perfect moment for them to get the perfect Aegis. They had the Hanzo arrow come out, land straight on top of Raynor, and force the issue a little bit quicker. If that timing can be screwed up consistently against the monkeys, they may not get that fight they're looking for.
The Arcane Explosion on Medivh's 7 and the Enduring Will on 13. So with the talents that we're having here, definitely a heavy spec into Force of Will to try and make sure that Illidan has massive protection. And also once you pop that as he goes in, you get that additional cooldown reduction. The entire draft is literally just keep Illidan alive. Keep Illidan alive, let him wreak havoc and create therefore space for Reyna to be effective. That's the whole thought process here.
One of those heroes that you have to build your entire team composition around to have a solid game, and monkeys have set themselves to do that. I mean, other that come to mind, Shogal could be one. Hang on, big fight here on the top as we have the support camp being grabbed. Here comes the arrow, but the Inquisition comes out, stops the cleanse, and that allows for the Unstoppable to pop up as the Lightning Breath will be used.
Alex again on nearly full HP, but the Riptire comes through and does the damage. Medivh goes down first as we have Alex also in trouble. Darkmoor going in deep. He wants to kill, doesn't get it yet, but he's trying to chase Alex. Not quite successful at that, but Diablo goes down. Biotic Emitter has been claimed by Granit Gaming. They get the double kill. An entire level lead now, and nearly level 16.
A question has been brought up by Granit Gaming that the monkeys have been able to find an answer for, and that's what do you do to keep your Illidan alive if we have a Yrel in the back line that can keep herself alive? Darkmok has been jumping into the back line and putting constant pressure on Whitemane, Raynor, and Medivh in that team fight, which has allowed for Illidan to push himself forward and get that momentum that we've been discussing.
I mean, Illidan went really deep, but you actually homed in on the problem. If your two supports are not able to close the gap to help you out, then you can't do anything in your opponent's backline. So that was actually heads-up play by Darkmook here, just trying to split the opponent, be a problem in the opponent's backline, and pushing especially Market just out the entire time. Still, there were a couple of close encounters when the problem when you go up against an Illidan composition is always, as long as you're winning, things are looking fine. But once Illidan gains some momentum, he is able to chase you down throughout the entire map, and then you're going to lose more than only one. But this is a perfect setup. Try and go for Illidan here. Lornado comes through. The cleanse is already out. Alex barely escaping here as Granit Gaming picks up even more experience, drops the wall and also one of the turrets.
Monkeys are about to hit 16, and Medivh comes over and drops the leyline seal. Darkmod jumps in, takes a little bit of pressure on his side. He does not have that Ardent Defender for 10 seconds, so he needs to back up, runs the support camp, and Diablo will get picked up.
Yeah, Minecraft is looking at this, just says lol, and immediately takes him down here. Diablo just way too far out, considering that he doesn't have any souls at that point in time. Was trying to be effective, but also... What was that?
That was Jimmy in his new skin.
Calm down, Jimmy.
In case you didn't know who he was, you know now.
It's like, calm down, bro.
You don't run around yelling, "This is Caldor," occasionally? You don't walk into a Starbucks or like a nice cafe latte, grande with a couple shots. By the way, this is Caldor.
Sparta style.
This is Caldor!
This is Johanna, and Alex tries to go in, and just getting the conveyor belt, just pushing it back. This is Granit Gaming 2 levels ahead, and right now, this is the moment in time when they have to...
Arrow?
Well, that was awkward. None missing the blast shield as the arrow is like that. Those are moments where I'm not quite sure. Like, you just burn 2 of your big heroic abilities as you're fighting for a protector, trying to chase in a little bit too deep. So now all of a sudden they have to be extremely careful how they fight this, if they can fight it at all. They still have the 2-level lead, and they don't want the monkeys to start a comeback here. But at the same time, you have just burned both of your CCs, and that's going to be rough when you're up against Illidan.
Yeah, to be fair, they didn't expect the intercession to come out so quickly, which Splinter really landed there, which allowed for Raynor to back up.
Good point, yeah.
Gonna have the Aegis pop immediately. Ooh, but that's one of those things that pops and you're like, okay, we can't use that armor. Nande steps up, keeps up the condemns. 20 is pretty far away, so Granit Gaming is still poking, shelling away with those arrows.
Good blinds also coming from Nande, and Make is in a really bad spot. Portal comes out, and he's trying to move away from it. The Portal control through the tornado, and also Condemn is pretty solid though. Remaballer doesn't have souls on Diablo, and that should be the end of him, but Illidan falls first as we have Jimmy and Diablo both die. The rest of the team is not looking too hot either. Down they go. All 5 taken off the map, and all of a sudden Granit Gaming with 9 kills against 203 level lead, moving straight for the keep.
You get the keep wall, they'll have the protector coming afterwards, gonna grab this keep as soon as they can, move towards level 20. Monkeys will be up in about 20 seconds. They may have a last second ditch attempt at defense, but it is gonna be difficult for them to stay in this game with the protector at 16 minutes running straight towards the core.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, there's just absolutely no way you hold that core. I mean, who do you have that can actually deal with this situation? Has level 20 talents as well. You have a 4-level lead already. No one on the board. Illidan is just now coming back, but there is no way of holding this one. Here comes the arrow, short distance. The most that Alex can hold before he has drop a spray, but that's already about it. As we have Granit Gaming take game number 1 in the series.
Granit Gaming goes up 1-0 over the Monkeys, able to shut down the Illidan play coming out for them. Just seemed like Illidan couldn't get that traction going forward, and I really do credit that to Urel being able to jump on the back line. Also, Hanzo, in a one-on-one scenario against an Illidan, if you're equal in terms of health bars and you're shelling out the scatter arrows, especially post-7, post-16 when you have the Pierce, Illidan feels like he just cannot do much.
A big problem for them was also once Diablo lost his souls for the first time, you just saw death after death on Remaballer, simply because he didn't have the hit point pull anymore, and that was something that Granit Gaming really exploited. They knew he didn't have enough souls, so they just went in over and over again, pressured him, forced him into early lightning blast, and then just took him apart there. There was definitely a thought process behind all of this from the Monkeys. If it works out, you look great, because, again, Illidan is a very momentum-based hero that thrives on having like a lot of space and area available to him and good support, but Urel shut that down pretty easily there. So, good thought process on the side of the Monkeys. It backfired. Probably not really an indicator for the rest of the series here, but at least for Granit Gaming, it has to feel pretty good coming into this, taking the first map. And as we said before, this is not one where traditionally they do too well either, so their best maps are still coming.
For me, I wish I would have seen a little bit more of that portal play being used, having 5 people jump onto one target. We never had that moment where we had the Monkeys attempt to just try and jump on a back line, find a Junkrat, try to find Hanzo, and delete him quickly. Sure, you do have to worry. You have your Urel controlling portals. Her back is really strong, and the arrow coming in too. But that commitment is something I was missing from the Monkeys there. It just felt like they were a little bit too stretched in. That could have been because they were behind after the mid-game. It felt like they never were on that talent tier. But having that Medivh and that Diablo paired together usually gives you those windows to open up, and they just never opened it up.
Yeah, it just didn't... There was a couple of moments. The fight over the Biotic emitter in particular comes to mind at the top, where I think Diablo fell for the first time. That was one of those moments where you could have seen it go a little bit different, where Diablo maybe overstayed as well. But it's a bit rough. Like, this game, I can still let slide and say, like, okay, I see what you were trying to do here. It didn't work out. It was more of an execution issue than anything else. Maybe they had success with that in scrims. They've been talking about how, especially this week, they invested a lot more into practice just simply because they know this is an important match for them. But now going into game number 2 in the second draft, they definitely have to change the MO a little bit to make sure that they're not falling behind with an O2.
Well, we're getting